What's up, guys, and welcome back. Thank you for watching. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving, great holiday season. We are moving into December. It is still flounder run. Everybody is still catching tons and tons of flounder. The season is still here. And because of that, well, everyone is using the tandem rig. Well, I say everyone. A lot of people are using the tandem rig. And there's a ton of different ways to tie up a tandem rig. I've seen a lot of different variations of that. Some people try to make it super easy and super fast. Some people are trying to make stronger tandem rigs. But today, I'm going to show you my version of the tandem rig and why I honestly think that it's just faster, easier, and better than most of your other tandem rigs. Let's get into it. All right, what is the tandem rig? Well, simply put, it is a single line holding two baits, generally at different lengths. So you can run this, and a lot of people really use this during the flounder run. There's only 1 to 2 months out of the year here in the fall winter time frame that I really target flounder. The rest of the year I'm chasing redfish and trout. Now I do catch flounder, but this is the time of year that I really specifically target flounder, and one of the easiest ways to do that is with a tandem rig. A lot of people use this and it just works really, really well. The benefit to a tandem rig is that you can run two separate baits at the same time, both of them using, being different, and they might have different actions and different different ways to attract fish, and that's generally what it's there for. You're using two baits to attract those flounder, get them off the bottom, chasing these down. You can use different colors, you can change the lengths, and there's a lot you can do with a tandem rig. But that's why everyone is using that this time of year. It's specifically to chase down and get these flounder. So, like I said before, there are a lot of different ways to tie up a tandem rig. And I'm going to quickly show you the basic idea of what most people do when they're tying up a tandem rig, and let's do that now. All right, first I'm going to show you the standard way that most people tie a tandem rig, and here it is. This is braid tied to a leader. I always use a leader when I'm targeting trout or flounder. You don't really need one for redfish, but yes, for trout and flounder, I am using a leader. So a lot of people will tie it directly here, or if they're running mono on their entire reel, then you don't really even need a leader. You can just run this straight. But here it is. This is braid tied to a mono or a fluorocarbon leader. Now what most people do is they will run a jig head onto the leader, like this. Now, you want that first one to be a little bit shorter, so a lot of people will take this loop here and they will tie just a basic knot. So that gives us this, right? With the other end of the line, this is where they're going to tie on another jig head. All right, guys, so here it is. This is your basic tandem rig, but there's a few things that I don't like about this. One, because of where this is, there's no adjustments that can be made to this. So for instance, if you wanted this to be longer or shorter, this short end, you pretty much have to cut the entire thing off just to retie that. Now, if you wanted the long end to be a little bit shorter, okay, I'm sure you could cut off a little bit and then tie it a little bit higher. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's really your only option if you want to make adjustments to this. Secondly, I don't like this loop that's on the smaller end. That's a problem for me. One, when you're fishing for flounder, you're fishing in rock piles and structures and all kinds of oyster and everything. And so this loop kind of gets caught up on everything. Now, lastly, because of that, one of the biggest things that I don't like is when you break off, because it's inevitable. It's going to happen if you're fishing for flounder. If you break off on this loop end, there's not really much you can do to retie to this, right? So you end up having to cut the entire thing off and then redoing the entire rig here, which I don't like. If you break off this end again, you can just tie another jig head a little bit higher, but you're kind of limited on what you can do with this. Lastly, I don't like how this just kind of hangs the way it does, because this line actually comes up. So it's not natural. I don't like it. So I'm going to show you my version and why I use those things and why I think it's just a little bit better than this, and definitely easier and adjustable and all of that. All right, so here's my version. I'm going to set it up on this here. Oh, by the way, check out my new rod. This is from Laguna. It is a Light Texas Wader 2. Isn't that pretty? Yeah, super nice. I'll probably go into more detail on that in another video. But let's get back to the tandem rig. All right, so you've got your single leader. It's got a jig head and your baits tied to both ends. All you got to do is find where you want those to hang. So I want mine to hang about here. So all I do is I grab that point at the top, I make a loop. Now, on my rod end, I've got braid and I hook a chatterweight, simple chatterweight. This one's from Texas Ride on the Rig, but you can use whatever chatterweight you want. You make a loop at that point. You stick it through the loophole of the chatterweight and then you pull it. And all you do from here is you run your baits through the loop. Just like that, and then you pull it tight. So now you've got your tandem rig just like that, connected to a chatterweight. Now what's cool about this is, one, if I, for instance, wanted to change the distance, maybe I wanted these closer together, all I do is go to the chatterweight, I loosen this up, and then I pull it down to where I want. So I can change the distance as many times as I want, doesn't matter. These aren't going anywhere. A lot of people worry about them slipping. None of that happens. They hang just perfect. So that's one benefit to it. Secondly, you've got a chatterweight on it. So the chatterweight is going to make more noise. It's going to attract fish. It works really, really well. Lastly, if you break off on anything, let's say that we break off on this one, maybe we even break up really, really high. Maybe we break it up here. Well, you just tie on another lure, another jig head right there, and then you adjust your line to get them at the distance that you want. Super, super simple, super easy. Now, lastly, because during the flounder run, during the flounder season, there's only a 2 flounder limit. So once you catch 2 flounder, you're kind of done. And at that point, especially if you catch those early in the morning, let's say you're only out there for an hour, you get your limit of flounder and you want to go do something else. Super simple. All I do is I cut one side of this off, I just tie directly to it, and now I've got a rig for trout or whatever. With the other rig, if I wanted to switch, let's say that you catch your 2 flounder and you want to switch over to targeting trout, you pretty much have to cut the entire thing off, retie a new leader, and so this is just much easier, much faster. Now, one thing that I do before I go on a flounder trip is I will pre-tie 1 or 2 leaders that just have jig heads on the end of them, and I'll wrap them up super, super tight, so that if I do break off or anything like that, well, I can just pull that out, run it through the chatterweight, and I'm good to go. Super simple, about the fastest way that you can do this. You literally make 1 loop and it's on there. Super, super strong. There's no knots to come untied, so it's just a better way. This is not going anywhere, especially when you're moving the baits through the water and the same resistance is on the baits. This isn't sliding around. Even if I were to take one of these, I got them all twisted up now. So a lot of people are worried about these slipping. Even if I pull, see, it's not going anywhere. That small loop is holding it. It doesn't matter. It's not going anywhere. Super, super easy. Very, very strong. There's no knot here to come undone. Very, very easy. And again, if you break off on one side, which is very, very common when you're flounder fishing and all of that structure and those rocks and those oysters, it happens. It's pretty much inevitable. You're going to break off here and there. If you do, you can readjust the line, tie another jig head on, and you're back to fishing, rather than cutting the entire thing off and then tying your braid to your line and then tying on 2 new jig heads. It's just this is way faster, way simpler. Thought I'd share it with you. The few people that I have showed this to in the past, most of those guys are doing this regularly now during the flounder season when they're running tandem rigs. It's just a much easier way. So anyways, I hope this video helps. If you like the rig, leave a comment below. Tell me what you think. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button and subscribe. I really, really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time.